If you have too many boards within Monday.com and can never find the information that you need, then this video is for you. I'm going to show you how you can set up a Monday vibe to find exactly what you need to do. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Tara. I'm the founder of a company called Simpleday. Over the past number of years, we've helped hundreds of companies get started with Monday.com. If you need any help getting started or using Monday.com, then my contact information is in the description below. I look forward to meeting with you. I want to start by using a specific use case of one of my current clients that face this problem. And this is really where the idea of this video came from. So my client is a nonprofit organization and they donate money to schools all over the world. They basically have grants, and if the school reaches certain eligibility criteria, then they receive the money. They receive hundreds and hundreds of applications every single year. And as you can imagine, it's not that simple because the applications have about 50 questions on them. And then after that, there's a lot more follow-up in order to see if each individual school is eligible for the grant. The way that their team is divided is they had regional managers and project managers. Regional managers, as you can guess, were in charge of specific regions, and they had to oversee all of the project managers. So every grant was first divided to a specific regional manager. The regional managers then decided if they're moving ahead with the first stage of approving a grant. Then a project manager was assigned, and the regional managers had to come in at specific points and approve specific things. For example, if the project managers decided this is a really good school and I think we should continue investigating, the regional manager had to come in and say, I think that we should go for a site visit, actually fly out to that location or not. Now, the regional managers had a lot going on. They were managing a lot of project managers. And as I said, there were a lot of different grants. Now, they were working on 4 different boards, and each board had about 200 columns. So it was very hard for them to see the specific information that they needed. On the one hand, you're probably saying, why didn't they just do a view? And we tried that. We created a view, but they still had 25 columns of information that they needed to see. And we also built out different item cards since they were working within the CRM. Now, you had to scroll and scroll and scroll, and it was just really, really hard to see the exact information that they needed to do because they needed to see what's due today. What information is the project managers waiting on them? Now, after spending a lot of time talking to this client and really understanding how the boards are set up to see where the pain point is, I actually thought that it's not a problem with how their boards are set up. Their boards are set up really, really well. And there's a million and one things that go on behind the scenes that is automated and helps them do their work better. The problem was really a visual problem. It was how they were viewing this information because they had so many columns and it was spread out over a number of boards, and they just didn't know what they needed to do every day. Because of that, we decided to build a Monday Vibe. Monday Vibe basically allows you to use AI to code and build an app. You can use everyday language and just tell it what you want to do. And I thought that this was the best approach for this client because they just needed to see the information differently. They were bound by the confines of Monday and it wasn't working for them visually. So let's jump into the boards and I'll show you exactly what we did. As I mentioned, there are 4 main boards that are used to track the grants. The 2 biggest issues that I'm going to show you was in the grant applications, and that's the board where all the grants came in, and the grant eligibility screening. The grant applications is where the form is, and people submit the form. And as you could see, there's 225 columns on this board. Can you imagine needing to scroll through all this information and find it? Pretty difficult, right? Now, they did create views like I showed you, and they also created an item card view. So if you open up a specific grant, you can see all of the information. Now, I don't know, when I look at this visually, it's very hard to see. I know not everything's filled in, but it's kind of hard to follow. You can't even read the whole question to understand what information is here. Now let's go to the other board. This is the GES board. And remember, this is the screening to see if the school is eligible for this grant. So there's different phases. Now, when you come in here, it does say current stage, but you need a lot of columns for a lot of data per stage that need to be entered. Let's just scroll over here and look at stage one. For stage one, you can see all of these things need to be filled in. Now, some of them are actually automated and automatically filled in. But every stage has tons of columns that need to be filled in. Again, making it really hard to see what are you up to. Like even if the first view showed you which stage you're up to, like then you come here and you see everything and it's like impossible to know what needs to be done. So for the regional managers, we really wanted to solve three different things. The first thing that we wanted to solve is they wanted to see all the new grants. What were the new grants so they can decide that they need to either totally reject them at the beginning or assign a project manager to get started. The next thing that they needed to see is what calls did they need to be on with a new project? Like what calls were scheduled? And the last thing that they needed to see is what site visits needed approval, meaning the regional manager had to approve if they were going to visit a specific school. If you look at the scope of all of these boards and all this information, knowing that is not that many things that you need to know. Obviously, they need data to make these decisions. So let's jump into the Monday vibe that we built, and I'll show you how we solve this problem. Now, let's take a look at our Monday vibe and in my opinion, see how much easier it is for the regional managers to actually manage their work. You can see on the top here that we have three simple tabs: new applications, site visit approval, and scheduled and in progress calls. Remember, those are the only three things that they need to see very clearly. So let's review what happens. We have a new application come in, and all of the new applications that are in a certain status, either of assigned PM or new, are listed here. The regional managers can easily sort by their name and just see the grants that are assigned to them. They can also sort by status. Now, here you can see that Peter has one grant that he needs to assign the project manager to, because that's the status. Now, of course, he needs to see more information to be able to assign a project manager. So instead of, remember, scrolling through all those columns, he simply can click here, and you can see that we have all of the information in an easy to view format about what he needs to make this decision if they're going to move on to the next stage. One of my favorite parts right here is there's a button that clicks open in board, and it actually opens the exact grant if he needs to see the information. Now, let's move on to the next part, site visit approvals. Remember that we had that really long list in the card view. Here you can see that everything is really easily viewed and they can see exactly what they need to see in order to decide if they're going to approve a site visit. Again, you can click on the information and it opens up over here with all the information that they need. And see how clear it is, each stage showing you exactly what they're up to. My favorite part of this is that we have this timeline and status. And if something is in the negative, meaning like they're over the deadline, it turns red. See, this has -6 days left, so it has turned red. And the reverse, if it's green, that means that you're still in the positive. And here we also have a link to open the board. Now, the last one that we have is scheduled calls, because they want to see the calls that they have upcoming. Once you open it, we have the same thing, a clear list of all of the organizations, a list of all the statuses of all the calls, the actual call date, the due date, who the regional manager is, who the project manager is, and open up in the board. Again, a really easy way to see all of the information. I hope you see by building this vibe and using this vibe for the client, they were able to take tons and tons of information in different boards with many, many columns and make an easy to view interface so that way they can work on. And I think that's the power of Monday Vibe, that you can change the way that it looks. I think that their Monday setup, although really complicated, was set up really well. And I know we didn't even jump into a small percentage of what they did. There are so many automations and there are so many workflows that are set up behind the scenes. The problem that this company was having, and a reason why they were hesitant about using Monday, was because they couldn't see exactly what they needed to see. And using Monday Vibe, they were now able to do that. Now, if you're curious about Monday Vibe and want to know more, watch this next video that's going to introduce you to Amichai, who is the creator of Monday Vibe, and will show you all about how you can use it. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and remember to subscribe to receive tips and tricks on how to use Monday.com. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.